Hey everybody, my name's Gene. I'm a graphic designer and illustrator, and I'm a history buff. I've been the graphic designer and illustrator for 15 years-ish, professionally. I've been a history buff as far back as I can remember. As soon as I was born, I want to know how everything works. And the fact that we have thousands of years worth of writing and history always fascinated me, because then you get to see how humanity works, and that was always really cool. So one of the great eras in human civilization was the Greek times. We have Athens, we have Sparta, we have Arcadia, a whole bunch of other great city-states that were essentially the model for our current civilization. Now, let's talk about teaching your young kids some of this. A lot of this you can teach them if you make it a little more fun. We're talking the younger ones here, maybe the older ones, the teenagers, when you can get them off the phone and off of the video games, they might be interested a little bit more in history. But the younger ones, you can teach them real early. And the great thing about Greek architecture, for example, was that everything was made out of simple shapes. Now I'm going to show you how to do the Parthenon today. And Parthenon was the temple to Athena. It basically is made of Greek columns, okay? And the columns are essentially just long rectangles, and then the roof is basically just a triangle. So these are concepts that your younger child, can grasp really easily. So let's jump right into the project. Let's see what we got. So one of the great things about ancient Greece is that all the architecture was so simple, so basic, that it should be real easy to wrap your preschooler's head around it. First thing we want to do is divide this white piece of paper basically into thirds. So if this was half, I'm just going to eye this up. You can do it with a ruler if you want. I'm going to say right around here would be a third, because this would be a quarter. 1, 2, 3. Bam, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Okay. I'm just going to take and draw a straight line right across. And in fact, this one, usually I wouldn't use a ruler for it, but this one I just want to be a little more exacting. So I'm going to use this cardboard here, straight piece of paper. Okay, now what you want to do is you want to take, let's say another third. Let's just stick to thirds. Somewhere in this neighborhood. We're drawing a Parthenon, by the way. The Parthenon, as everybody I'm sure knows, is the ancient Athenian temple to the goddess Athena, which is where Athens takes their names, Athens, Athena. And one of the great parts of all Greek architecture is it's so simple. The top of the Parthenon, the front-facing part, is just a triangle. And if you want to get really creative, you can draw the intersection of the triangle. If you want to get really creative, you can draw everything that takes place in here. But since we're talking preschoolers, we want this to be real easy. Now, you might need to help them a little bit with the cutting, depending on how adept your preschooler is at using safety scissors. And I do recommend that you watch them while they're cutting. Cut out these two triangles here. And then cut up. I just cut all the way up, because why not? And then go straight across. And this is just a regular 8.5, 11 piece of paper. And I'm going to cut this one straight across on the other hypotenuse of the triangle. Now, one of the great things about this is once you're done with this craft, other kids are going to be learning how to write their name, learning, ABCs, at the preschool age, and your child is going to be making a Parthenon and bringing that into show and tell. You can be like, hey, look, kids, this is the Parthenon. It's named after the ancient Greek goddess Athena. And so what we want to do is the Parthenon, triangular top, and then it just has a bunch of columns down the front. So these columns are going to be about 1 inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch, somewhere in that neighborhood. But you want them all to be the same distance apart. And if you're not as good at eyeing these up as I am, I'd recommend you get a ruler. There we go. I'm just going to do a couple of these and show you how they're done. And you just want to cut them straight out. Safety scissors, remember? Nobody wants to get hurt. Just cut straight down the line. And you can cut a bunch of these columns out real quickly. Now, if you want, you can count out the exact number of columns, and I would recommend, if you're going to do it that way, it's real easy to count out the number of columns first, and then after you're done with that, you'll know how big to make the top part. But unless you have a really smart preschooler who already knows math, already knows how to count, they're probably not going to remember how many columns go into the Parthenon anyway. I'm going to grab my blue piece of construction paper, and then all you're going to do is you're going to take all of your Greek columns one by one and glue them to the page and make them equally spaced, and then just put the Parthenon roof right on top. Now, in order to get the sizing right, and remember, this probably needs 2 more. I'm not going to cut them out, but in order to get the sizing right, you could even push that down a little bit. So I would say 2 more for this, and you have a Parthenon. Something every preschooler can do is very simple shapes, and how cool will it be when your 4 or 5-year-old is recognizing Greek architecture while everybody else is learning their ABCs. That's all there is to it. Like I said, these are very simple shapes, and if you look around Greece a little bit more, you're going to find that there are a ton of landmarks, of buildings that you can actually reproduce very simply with your child, and as you're doing it, teach them what these are. Teach them a little bit about the history, and again, this is just one great way to make learning fun. So thanks for watching, guys. Get out of here, you crazy kids. Go look up some history.